YouTube! So, today I want to talk about not being as new as you think you are when you're a new witch. And I think this all comes to honoring the things that could feed into witchcraft that is not you necessarily sitting down at your altar or doing a spell or practicing. It's honoring the different parts of things that feed into that help build a skill set without you realizing it. And I've heard a lot of other people talk about phrases and stuff like this where when it comes to like pantheism or kind of like the law of attraction mixed in with spellcraft, a couple of other things of this nature where you don't even realize that you're doing it, right? So we were doing these things for so much of our lives, and then coming into it, we have now suddenly realized that, oh, it's witchcraft. And, like, I've only been doing this now since about 6 months, but there's some things that I've been doing for a lot longer than 6 months that totally feed into it, and that I am more knowledgeable within that sphere, where, like, maybe not calling it witchcraft or calling it the thing that everyone else calls it. For me, that's astral, like working within the astral world, the astral plane, astral projection, that type of thing. I've been playing that and doing with that a lot ever since I was a young teenager. It was something that kind of fascinated me. I kind of stumbled upon it, and I didn't even really know it was in the astral plane that I was exploring, or the astral plane where I was building a place for me to kind of accumulate all these different findings about myself and have like a physical representation of something that I know is not physical in the 3D realm that we are currently existing. And so I've been playing in that for over 10 years now, over 11, but I'm still a new witch, and I still feel suddenly like, I'm like, oh, I need to research and do all these different things, and I know nothing about the how to operate in the astral. And while it's definitely good, I think, to explore and even to take on that new possibility that, of course, there's stuff that I don't know, and of course I could come at it from a place of, okay, teach me what you know, because I've got nothing. Just to take on new things and add new skills onto that doesn't mean that I've never any experience with it. Doesn't mean that I'm totally brand new to that experience or to that level or type of thing that you can do in the craft or in my spirituality. And I think it's good for people who are of spiritual mindset, who've kind of been exploring things for a while and especially just now come to the word of witch, to recognize that and honor that, because it comes into this weird, I don't know, conflict within myself that I didn't realize I was having, where I was like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, but do I have any real space to talk about what I've done in the astral, how that has helped me, how different ways this has really helped me with guided meditations and that type of deal, and how that's furthered my spirituality. Do I have any place to still talk about that? Because I haven't done a lot of astral work yet as a witch, since I only claimed the word witch 6 months ago. Well, just because I haven't done it while claiming the word witch doesn't invalidate all the other experiences that I was having previous to that. It doesn't negate them. It doesn't render them null and void. There are definitely some parts I could build off of, and because I'm definitely doing it and exploring it more actively now, more consciously, as opposed to kind of letting things just kind of flow and see what popped up for that realm. But I can honor the fact that I have a good skill with that. That is something, it is easy for me to do guided meditations. It's easy for me to tap into that. I know that when something is majorly happening in my astral plane, that means that there's something that needs to probably be reflected and majorly happening in my 3D realm. Like, I have these understandings, and that's because that's not a new thing for me. It's a very developed skill for me, and I can honor that. I'm not as new in that realm, even if I'm new in almost everything else. I feel the same a lot with tarot cards. I have been reading my own tarot, just with one particular deck though, for over 7 years. So I have a pretty decent understanding of the cards and their meanings, but I haven't explored it within different decks. I haven't explored it with other people's knowledges a lot. So with that, I'm really new in more of the communal aspect and really seeing different levels of how other people approach tarot. I've always used it as a slightly like intra perspective, like really psychological look at myself, and also kind of like a future telling mix into it. And I find it interesting that people use it more solely for the self-improvement and take the quote-unquote future telling out of the equation entirely, or there's people who do it solidly for the future telling. For me, it's always been a mix, so it's interesting for me to explore these that way. But just because I haven't had something certified, or just because I haven't expressed my knowledge to other people, doesn't invalidate the knowledge that I've gained in those 7 years that I've been reading my own tarot cards. So it's things like that where, you know, if you're a new witch, but there has been things that you've been looking into for a while, maybe you've been collecting crystals for forever, maybe you've always been a fan of gardening, so you know all about the plants backwards and forwards, and now you're just adding magical properties to them. Maybe you have other skills that you use on the regular that you've adapted over time, and now it's aiding into your witchcraft that you didn't even think could be added into the witchcraft. You know, for me, it's writing and art, like, especially painting and comics specifically. Like, how can I adapt this and add this into my spirituality? What is something I've always been trying to express with these mediums that is quite spiritual, is quite witchy? Those are not new things. Those are not things that I would consider within myself a new skill set. It's an adaptive skill set that I've had for quite a while, that I've been improving readily, and still looking to improve, of course. I'm always looking to grow. I'm not saying that I know all and I don't necessarily need to take any classes or see other viewpoints on any of these skills that I've adapted, even though I am new. No, I definitely want to take on more. Look into every aspect and gain as much knowledge as I can. Give me all the knowledge that is available. I want it. But I'm not a baby in some aspects of the craft, as I kind of thought I was, or I was kind of forcing myself to be. I was kind of forcing myself to relearn the basics of tarot, and while I think that can be helpful sometimes, I was finding myself going like, ugh, like it's such a dredge to do it. And it's like, just go to the more advanced stuff. It's okay to look into different types of spreads, and it's okay to really look into different person's analytics about a card, specifically, so you can really dive deep and go, okay, like, yeah, I've always read the card this way, but how, and I know there's interpretation of this, but you've brought up a whole new point with that. It's okay for me to dive into the nitty-gritty when it comes to cards, and their meanings and different spreads and reversals and all of that. I can dive into the more advanced stuff because I do have a little bit of a background in tarot. I'm not a brand new beginner, even if I'm a brand new beginner in using it as a witch. So, new witches, is there a skill that you have that you always kind of feel like, ugh, I don't know? And what is a good recommendation for other people who have different types of skill sets that they're like, yeah, no, I've brought that into my witchcraft and it's really helped, and it's definitely something where I'm really good at that particular skill, but bringing it into witchcraft or into my spirituality has been something that's kind of like upended it for me. If anyone else has experiences like that, I'd love to hear down in the comments below. Anyway, I make new videos every Wednesday and Friday. Oh, also, I have just started to, I created a website down in the lovely little box with all the information below. There is Shadow Harvest Witch at squarespace.com. If you guys want to check out, I'm starting a little written blog. If you want to see any more of my wonderful ramblings, you can check it all out down there. Alright, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.